Gents, it's been a while. Now I know. Like I said, it's been a while. Your boy has been dealing with a lot of personal stuff and especially like job stuff. It's brutal out there. But we're back. And a lot of stuff happened since I was gone and haven't been posting videos. So, like every boxing news and stuff, if you're not aware, you should. But if you aren't aware, every boxing news and stuff is just me bringing up updates, results, finalizations, any news related to boxing and potential matchups and potential stuff in the future for careers of a boxer or certain boxers. I'm your guy. So let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is Sebastian's Fundora. I mean, the second time the beatdown happens on the one time. This fight took place March 28th for Sebastian's WBC 154-pound world title, where Sebastian won by improving his record now to 24 victories, one defeat, one draw, 16 victories coming by way of knockout. He is now currently ranked number 2 for the Ring magazine at 154 pounds. Thurman got stopped by the ref in the 6th round. Thurman's been fucking crying his ass off about how the ref, he's too sensitive, he's too like scared of violence, that the little bit of violence he saw happening in the fight, he had to step in and stop it. According to Thurman, it was just about to get good. Shit was just barely starting to turn up. Yada yada. My opinion, Thurman was about to fucking die. Thurman was getting his shit beat. And it was, you could see this is the round they stopped him in. The image I have here for you fools. This was the 6th round. This is how Thurman looks halfway through the fight. So we're not talking about, oh, Thurman looks like this at the 10th, 11th, 9th round. No. Thurman, not even finishing the halfway mark, looks like this. He's still in the round where it's considered the first half of the fight. And he looks like this. So yeah, I don't fucking blame the ref for when Sebastian hits him with the fucking mean three punch combo when his face already looks like this and Sebastian is looking clean as hell. I don't blame the ref to want to be like, hey, you know what? I gave you a warning. I gave you a warning during the fight. I gave you a warning when you were in your corner and then you come out and you're getting beat like this. No, I'm not going to let you continue fighting. I got to protect you. If you're not going to protect yourself, if your corner's not going to throw in the towel and protect you, the ref's job is to protect the fighter. So I think it was a good stoppage. Um, I feel like even if he did somehow by some miracle last 12 rounds, it would have been for nothing. I feel like Thurman wouldn't have been able to do anything except for just survive, get punched, and stay on his feet. And honestly, that's just unnecessary damage for a guy who's never gonna win this fight. Now I know it's a lot. It's it's a lot to take in for my word for me being like, oh yeah, I knew Thurman was gonna get fucked up. When if you're new around here, I make prediction videos where the reason I do it is for you guys to keep me in check, to be like, oh, he was right on this, he was wrong on this, and also to kind of flex a little. I don't want to be that guy, but I do want to flex a little that, yeah, majority of the time when I talk about boxing, I am right. So it kind of gives me the credit of showing you guys that, yeah, I told you guys this was going to happen. I just saw the patterns, I saw how he was looking, how the other guy was looking. My opinion, Thurman jumped the gun. I've been preaching for a while. I'm pretty sure you could find a video where I've been saying Thurman should be fighting someone like Errol Spence Jr. instead. Because Spence hasn't fought in almost 3 years. The last time he fought, he got his ass whooped by Terrence Crawford. And he's never fought in 154-pound division. So, to debut his first time in the new weight category, why not fight another PBC fighter in Keith Thurman, who Keith only has had his second. This was his second fight in the division. He's only had one fight in the division. Plus, in the span of 7 years, I think he's only fought 15 rounds. So it's like it was a perfect matchup to see who's really ready to come back to boxing, whether it's Keith, whether it's Earl. I would have loved to see Keith versus Charlo. Charlo hasn't fought since he got beat up. Not bad, but like he got beat to the point where he was scared and he was just running around. When he got beat up by Canelo, he jumped up to 168, got beat up, hasn't fought since. Hasn't been doing anything. He hasn't fought a random fight at 154 or a random fight at 160 just to stay active or like tuna fight. Nothing. He just hasn't fought. That was a while ago. That was like 2 years ago, I think. So I've been saying for a while, Keith Thurman should either fight his PBC brethren in Earl Spence Jr. or, uh, you know, Charlo. And then whoever comes out victorious of those fights is proven that, you know, why not give them a last opportunity for a world championship fight? Especially if Thurman could beat someone like Earl and Charlo back to back, why not give him the opportunity? But he beats a random kid from Australia who's never fought in outside Australia. And he's never fought in past, like, I think he was Australian champ, so that's the highest he's ever reached was Australian champ. He knocks this kid out. Yeah, it's impressive that a guy his age could look that good, but you gotta remember the level of opposition he did it against, and then to go from him to Sebastian Fundora, who just beat another top 10 guy in the division in Tim Zhu and even stopped him. I mean, come on, you know. So I've been saying this for a while, and unfortunately, I couldn't make the video. Like I said, a lot of personal stuff. I couldn't make the video for you guys to, you know, demonstrate that, yeah, I was right and I called that. I didn't think he was going to get stopped this early. I thought he was going to be a little bit more tricky for Fundora, you know, with him going side by side, moving a lot. I thought he was going to be a little trickier. But, hey, still the same outcome I thought was going to happen, just a little earlier. But what's next? What follows up for the Towering Inferno's victory over somebody like Keith Thurman? Well, in my opinion, there's a lot of options to fight, but not a lot of options available, if that makes sense. So at 154 pounds, me personally, I've been saying for a while, I personally think the 154-pound division is the most exciting division right now. It's the most action-packed. Any matchup with anybody, even a guy who's ranked number 3 for the ring versus somebody who's like ranked number 10 to 15, is still a fantastic, tough fight for any of those guys. But not everybody's available right now. For example, Charlo is already at work. Charlo hasn't said anything about coming back. He said, you know, I fucked them all up, yada yada, but he hasn't shown that he's gonna get in the ring with somebody just to get back in the ring to come back. So I don't see a world where Charlo's probably gonna go straight to Fundora without at least a tuna fight, even if it's against a fucking D-level opponent. I just don't see a world where Charlo doesn't first test his body out and getting in the ring after all this time before going straight to someone like Sebastian Fundora. So I don't see a world where Charlo is the matchup right now. Then you have Virgil Ortiz with his whole legal action with Golden Boy. Who fucking knows when's the next time he's gonna fight? You know, so that's out of the picture. Both the unified champion in Xander Zayas, who was the mandatory for Fundora when Fundora was the unified WBO and WBC champ. Sebastian Fundora didn't fight him. He decided to fight Keith, so they stripped him WBO. Xander Zayas is now WBO and defeated the WBA world champion. He's out of the picture, as also the other guy who's out of the picture, and Boots. So Boots and Zayas are out of the picture. So there's no Boots, no Zayas, no Virgil, no Charlo, no Earl. Even if you wanted to make a trilogy fight with Tim, Tim's already scheduled to fight someone, and then the guy after him is Earl. So no Tim. So maybe Mortazaliev, but do you want to go in there when Mortazaliev, you know, hasn't fought anybody since losing his belt to Josh Kelly? You could. maybe, uh, you know, but my opinion, the best outcomes for Fundora keep doing while he waits for the other guys to kind of free up and be done with their fights are these two fuckers. Now, the guy to the left is the number one pick I would have for Sebastian Fundora. I just think it makes the most sense. But his name is Josh Kelly. He's 18 victories, 9 of them by knockout, 1 defeat, 1 draw. The current and brand new IBF world champion at 154 pounds, currently ranked number 6 for the Ring magazine. His last fight was for the title, January 1st, against the ex IBF champion, Mortazaliev. So he fights Mortazaliev, beats him, becomes the new IBF world champion. That was in January 31st. Hasn't fought since. Hasn't even come up with, a future opponent that he may fight. Nothing. So in my opinion, unify with him. Take his belt, beat another guy in the division, beat a ranked number 6 guy for the Ring. Because Sebastian currently right now is ranked number 2 for the Ring magazine. The guy on top of him is Virgil Ortiz. But Virgil Ortiz isn't fighting in a while. And he hasn't fought in a little bit. And it seems like he's not going to fight in a little bit more. So, a guy like Sebastian Fundora, after a victory like Keith, but then he beats someone who's ranked number 6. And then also in the process beats him and takes his championship title, becoming unified. I don't see a world where Sebastian isn't put as number 1 in the rankings for the Ring and bumps down, Virgil Ortiz. So why not do this? In the process, you beat another world champion in your division. You become unified once again. You stay ready while the other major fights that you actually want get cleared up. And then also, you get put in the number 1 spot for the Ring magazine. So that's just my opinion. But if you can't, for whatever reason, make that fight, I think the other guy he should fight is Israel Madrimov. 11 victories, 7 of them by knockout, 2 defeats, 1 draw. He's the ex-WBA 154-pound world champion. He is currently still in the rankings. He's ranked number 4 for the Ring magazine. His last fight was against David Salazar in January 24th of this year. It was a pretty shitty fight in the sense that it was obviously just a tune-up fight to come back after being defeated by Virgil Ortiz last year when they fought. And it was kind of viewed like a tune-up fight to come back, but it was kind of iffy because it went the distance when it shouldn't have, but that's because Madrimov supposedly had pneumonia. So he had pneumonia, still went the distance with this guy and beat him unanimously. But yeah, it's just another guy who's been in the ring with someone like Terence Crawford. Like I said, he was in there with Virgil Ortiz. And he's ranked number 4. So like I said, yet again, he's ranked higher than Josh Kelly. So in my opinion, a win over any of these two guys should put Sebastian Fundora to bump up 1 spot in the rankings and bump down Virgil Ortiz. Because like I said, Virgil hasn't fought in a while. And it seems like he's probably not going to fight in a little bit more time. And if Sebastian Fundora goes in there and defeats a guy who's either ranked number 6 in Josh Kelly or ranked number 4 in Madrimov, that should be sufficient evidence to be like, hey, let's bump him up to be the actual number 1 guy in the division. Or at least number 1 ranked to be the number 1 guy. But who knows? We'll see what's up for the Towering Inferno. Another fool that had a great night and looked good, and quite honestly looked a little scarier than usual, is Itauma. Itauma does in 5 rounds what Joshua and Dillian White couldn't do. His improved record is now 14 victories, 0 defeats, 0 draws, 12 victories coming by way of knockout, and is ranked number 5 for the Ring magazine. He is ranked number 1 for the WBO. He is ranked number 1 for the WBA, ranked number 3 for the WBC, and is currently ranked number 11 for the IBF. He's also WBO International champ, as well as another belt that I'm forgetting. But yes, those are currently spots in his rankings. Moses Itauma looked very good technical wise. He even stated that he had to be a little bit more technical because he knew from the first round that it had to be at a slower pace because the way Franklin was fighting, the power Franklin had, everything kind of pointed him towards a direction to where Itauma felt he had to take a little bit slower of a pace. But that just shows brilliance and growth in a fighter, especially a guy who's, I don't know if I would still consider him a prospect, but I don't know. I haven't seen a fight that has gone to me to be like, yeah, he's a contender now. But he probably fits more in the contender than he does as a prospect. But I mean, yeah, Joshua fought. Uh, he fought Franklin to also kind of consider himself a contender. Itauma, Dillian White kind of did the same thing. So yeah, Franklin can be considered a fighter that if you beat him, you should be considered a contender instead of a prospect. And like I said, Joshua convincingly easily won against Franklin, but it took him 12 rounds and he went the distance. Dillian had a little bit more of a tougher time, but same thing, he convincingly still won, but he went the distance. Itauma probably at most lost like 2 rounds, but realistically he only lost 1 round to Franklin, and he knocks him out in 5. And the only reason he said it went that long was because he had to go a little bit slower for the pacing that Franklin was fighting in. So, like I said, that's just good intellect of a guy who's fucking young. I mean, he's 21 years old. He's barely old enough to buy himself a drink. You know, this fool's coming out here like this and doing this to these guys. Now, yeah, people could say Franklin was washed. He wasn't the same, whatever. But to do something like that to a guy who back to back he fought Dillian White and Anthony Joshua, and both times back to back he went the 12 rounds. He went the distance with both fighters and didn't get dropped. To then right here he gets nasty knocked out in the 5th round while Itauma was purposely going slow in the pacing. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be that fool, you know. I don't want to overglaze somebody. I've never been like that, but Itama's looking like that exception to be like, hop on the Itauma train. If not, get left behind because he's the new best thing. Um, do I still think that if he fights right now against Usyk, he wins? No, I think Usyk is still, especially after that Dubois fight, he's still showing that it doesn't matter how powerful you hit, how young you are. You know, his technical abilities, his experience, and his own power is enough to deal with anybody at the weight class. So, you know, he's not showing signs of aging. He's still showing signs of improving. So, yeah, right now I just don't think Itama is capable of being the one to defeat finally to be able to defeat someone like Usyk. But I possibly say like in a year. Yeah, probably in a year, 2 at most. Yeah, he's if fucking Usyk is still fighting by then. Yeah, Moses is that guy to beat him. But as of right now, no. But what is next for him? What's next for the 21-year-old destroyer? My opinion, these two fuckers. Now, the one to the left, his name is Lawrence Okoli, who has 23 victories, 17 of them by knockout, 1 defeat, 0 draws. He's the ex-WBO Cruiserweight World Champion. He's the ex-WBC Bridgerweight World Champion. And he is currently the WBC Silver Champ at the heavyweight division. He is currently ranked number 10 for the Ring Magazine. His last fight was a TKO victory back in December 21st. If you didn't know, Moses Itauma was ranked number 5 for the Ring Magazine. So this is a ranking fight. You're fighting a guy who's in the top 10. The Ring Magazine is supposed to be the organization that they don't give you a world title level. Their belt doesn't mean you're a world title holder or a world title level fighter, but it does mean that you are among the 10. They don't go to 15, 20. No, they do 10. Who are the top 10 guys in this division, and what is the ranking and why? So Lawrence is there at number 10. So why not keep fighting guys that are in those rankings for the ring to keep proving to people that, yeah, you can't run away from me. You got to give me my title fight. Whether it's Usyk, whether it's the winner of Dubois and Wardley, whoever it may be, you gotta give me that shot. Um, and I think someone like Okoli is a good fight for him. He's a British fighter as well. Keep growing that British crowd. Keep proving that you are the number one guy for from the UK. I mean, you have other guys like Joshua, um, Chisora. No, I think he fought Chisora already. No, I I always get Chisora and Dillian White confused. I don't know why, but he fought one of them, but he hasn't fought the other one. But the other one you still have the one that he hasn't fought, whether it's White or Chisora, he hasn't fought. You have Tyson Fury who hasn't fought, Joshua who he hasn't fought. So there's still people in the UK that are big heavyweight names, but Joshua's looking like he's already in his last. Fury looks like he probably only wants to come back against Makhmudov, Joshua, and then an Usyk trilogy, and that's it. He probably will retire officially after that. Um, then you have other guys like Dubois and Wardley who are big heavyweights as well. But like I said, you either could fight the winner, you could fight the loser. But as of right now, he could fight Okoli. Like Okoli doesn't have anything lined up. He's a big heavyweight, ranked number 10 in the Ring magazine. Would still grow that UK fandom for the few UK fans that aren't convinced. Could keep convincing them, or he could fight the guy to the right, who is Martin Bakoli. 21 victories, 16 of them by knockout, 2 defeats, 1 draw. He's the current heavyweight WBO international and NABF champion. He won those by beating Big Baby Anderson. He's ranked number 6, so he's higher ranked. He's ranked number 6 for the Ring magazine. His last fight was back in May 3rd, so he hasn't fought in a while. He hasn't fought since May of last year. And it was a draw. So, he could beat someone like this. Like I said, he's one rank below him, so he's still fighting someone pretty decently ranked high in the Ring magazine. Um, Bakoli was once considered the boogeyman of the division, so why not be the first guy to like stop Bakoli? You know what I mean? Why not be the first guy to not necessarily beat him, but beat him by knockout? Beat the boogeyman. It's kind of still passing of the torch, in a way. Itauma's kind of starting to look like the new boogeyman of the division, where it's like anybody who gets in the ring with him is going to get either fucked up or is going to get knocked out. And, the odds aren't in your favor when fighting Itauma. So a lot of people are not going to really want to fight him, or if they do want to fight him, they're going to ask for a lot of money and a lot of stuff that favor them because they sense that, yeah, maybe I'm not going to be able to pull this one off against Itauma. So he could get the passing of the torch from the ex-boogeyman of the division to now being the new boogeyman of the division. Or, I did mention the name, Big Baby Anderson. Jerron Anderson just got signed by Queensberry. Obviously, Thomas with Queensberry. Why not fight Anderson? Have a fight in the U.S. Doesn't have to be main event, but it could be the co-main event to a fight here in the U.S. And try to get fans from the U.S. to be fans of Itauma before he gets a world title fight. So, with that being said, he could do Anderson. I don't think, though, that Anderson would want to fight Itauma for his first fight, especially after a while. But yeah. Now, this one. This one is something special. Now, like I said earlier in the video, a lot of the guys at 154 are a little busy right now. They have their own matchups coming up. They have stuff that they're busy with, and one of them, well, 2 of them, is Boots and Zayas. Now, like I said, Virgil Ortiz was in negotiations to fight Boots. Shit went south to the whole point where not only is he not fighting Boots, but he's probably not gonna be fighting in a while. So, Matchroom, more specifically Eddie Hearn, who's the promotion behind Boots Ennis, stated that they were going to give a little bit of time to Virgil to see what was going to happen with the legal issue. But after that, They were gonna move on to other stuff, bigger stuff, and they said one of them is a title fight. He's like, if we can't get Virgil, we would want to give Boots a title fight. So they gave it to him, and I mean, I like Zayas' attitude. He's been going out there calling everybody out, and he's been shown that he's not all bark, that he is out here willing to fight everybody in the division. So he said, if I can't get a title fight, I want to fight some of the toughest guys in the division, even if they're not champions. But I want to try first to get a world title fights. Like he wants to be undisputed, so he was like, if I can't get, Sebastian was still busy with his fight with Thurman. He's like, if I can't get Josh Kelly, who's the IBF world champion, then I'll move on to the best thing. And the best thing, from my opinion, is either a fight with Virgil or Boots. And obviously, Virgil's not in position to fight. So Zaya has 23 victories, 13 of them by knockout, 0 defeats, 0 draws. Current WBA and WBO world champion at 135. Currently ranked number 3 for the Ring Magazine. Will be facing off against Jerome Boots Ennis. 35 victories, 31 of them by knockout, 0 defeats, 0 draws. The ex IBF, WBA, and Ring Magazine world champion at 147 pounds. Currently ranked number 5 for the Ring Magazine at 154 pounds. Will be facing off June 27th in Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York. They officially announced this on Monday, March 30th, that it was an official announcement that this fight's going to happen. It's also been dubbed the Pursuit of Greatness. It seems like it's going to take place in Brooklyn or someplace in New York because of both of the fighters. So, for those who don't know, Zayas is Puerto Rican. Obviously, if the fight can't happen in Puerto Rico, New York is the best option for any Puerto Rican fighter to have their fight because, I mean, all the people that live there, there's a big, massive community of Puerto Ricanos in New York. So that's a good for him. And then Boots is from Philly. So, you're not that far. Philly is not that far from New York. So a lot of people from Philly could go to New York and see Boots. So overall, obviously that's a great location for both of them. It makes sense. And I'm excited about this matchup. I will be giving my thoughts more closely to the fight, obviously, but as of right now, I'm just a fan, a boxing nerd who's just very excited about this matchup and can't wait to see it. But the 140-pound division is also looking pretty interesting right now. Now, it is rumored, it's not yet confirmed, but it's rumored that after the victory that Emiliano Vargas had, like I think 2-3 weeks ago, he stated that he wanted to up the level of opposition that he has, and he wanted to face an ex-world champion. That his next opponent be an ex-world champion. Now, it's rumored, Zayas is top rank, Vargas is top rank as well. It is rumored that they want to put Vargas in the undercard for the Boots and Zayas fight. So, for the June 27th fight, they want to put, and it's not yet done deal, but apparently it's serious conversations. They want to have Emiliano Vargas, 17 victories, 14 of them by knockout, 0 defeats, 0 draws. WBO Latino America champ and NFBF champ at 140 face off against ex IBF, WBA, WBO, and Ring Magazine 135-pound world champion and contender for the world title at 140 in 22 victories, 10 of them by knockout, 4 defeats, 0 draws. George Kambosos Jr. be his next opponent for Emiliano Vargas to see whether or not Vargas is ready to go to the big leagues. Well, not necessarily the big leagues, but maybe transcend being a prospect to now being considered a contender. Doing that transition from prospect to contender. It said that it could be, if they can't find anything better, that it'll probably be the co-main event to Boots and Zayas. I don't think it will be, probably. I mean, like I said, they're both top rank, Zayas and Vargas. They're both high-profile names for top rank. So maybe they'll have Vargas be co-main. But I'm just excited this matchup. I think it's a lot trickier and a lot harder than a lot of people give credit to Cambosis. I think this fight versus Vargas is going to be the first real test of Vargas's career. I don't think he's ever really been tested. One thing is that you fight these guys who are okay test to other guys, but when they're not test to you, you're not really getting tested. So I think George Cambosis Jr. is going to be the first actual test for Vargas and whether or not he's ready to do the transition from prospect to contender. Now, to the right, we have Oscar Duarte versus Angel Fierro. I know it says in talks, but it's actually confirmed now that for May 2nd in the undercard of Zurdo versus Benavides, Duarte and Fierro will be facing off. Oscar Duarte had that whole controversial thing where he was going to fight for the IBF world title at 140. It's his first time for a world title fight. And Hitchinson's fell ill the day of the fight. And they couldn't fight. Duarte wasted a whole camp trying to get ready, making weight, and it was all for nothing. So kind of to get him back in the ring quick, while still being a good fight, good profile fight, they put Fierro. If you haven't seen Fierro, Fierro got his popularity because of his exciting back-to-back matchup, like back and forth matchup that he had with Isaac Pipo Cruz. And also he got a bit of a little controversy because Fierro fell ill in the rematch, and then when they had a homecoming fight in Tijuana for him, he got a little frustrated and kicked his opponent, and he got disqualified from that match. So he hasn't fought since, but I think this is a good fight. This is gonna be a Mexican fucking war, so stay tuned for that fight. This is gonna be exciting. Um, that one's confirmed, but like I said, the one to the left, Vargas and Cambosis, not confirmed yet. But I'll keep you guys updated if it is. Another thing going on, the unification bout between WBA World Champion Rolly Romero versus WBO World Champion Devin Haney at 147 pounds could be in jeopardy of not being made. Now, Devin Haney, 33 victories, 15 by knockout, 0 defeats, 0 draws. WBO World Champion, ranked number 1 for the Ring Magazine, was supposedly going to face off sometime around May against Rolly Romero, 17 victories, 13 of them by knockout, 2 defeats, 0 draws. WBA World Champion at 147 pounds, currently ranked number 5 for the Ring Magazine, was going to face off against each other. I think it was like March 27th or March 30th, sometime around there. But apparently it was pretty close to being made. But apparently now it's in jeopardy of not. A bunch of tweets going back and forth. You know how it is in modern times. Rolly, uh, Devin Haney tweeted out saying towards Rolly that Rolly is delusional, acting like he's some kind of draw, but can't sell out a ballroom. That's why the fight hasn't been made yet. The money isn't right. I'm looking at another options. He can go fight his mandatory since he's such a draw. And in response, Rolly tweeted out back, "See how easy it is to call out their bluff? Laughing emoji. It ain't no fun when Rolly has the gun." Uh, so yeah, apparently maybe Rolly called a little bit more, and Haney and his dad and his team aren't fucking with it. But a lot of people seem to think that Haney is kind of ducking Rolly in a way because in an interview not so long ago, he stated that the contract Rolly sent was was good, that the money made sense, that what Rolly was asking wasn't absurd, that the contract made sense, and they didn't see a reason why not to do negotiations with the contract that Rolly sent, which apparently was a fair and good contract. But all of a sudden now it's not. So a lot of people are saying that probably Devin Haney is kind of ducking Rolly in hopes that Rolly fights his mandatory and probably loses to his mandatory, which I think he will if he fights that fool. Um, a lot of people just think that maybe Rolly is ducking Haney and that he upped the price last minute and Haney and them are not fucking with it. But unfortunately, it may seem like this fight's not going on. Same thing as always. Any further development of this, whether they actually do or don't end up fighting, I'll let you fools know. Now, speaking of 147, the possible showdown between Ryan Garcia, 25 victories, 20 by knockout, 2 defeats, 0 draws, current WBC world champion at 147 pounds, currently ranked number 4 for the Ring magazine, went on a podcast. I don't even know of who. I don't give a fuck. But he went on a podcast uh, about a week ago, I think, or a little bit less. And he was talking about his future matchups. And he mentioned that Teofimo is his future matchup that's going to happen next. Like, he didn't say, oh, I want him next. He said, no, he is next. And this is going to happen July 25th against Teofimo. 22 victories, 13 knockouts, 2 defeats, 0 draws, ex undisputed, quote unquote, and Ring Magazine world champion at 135 pounds, ex WBO and Ring Magazine world champion at 140 pounds. After his crushing defeat and one sided dominant beatdown that he lost against Shakur Stevenson, he, like every time he loses, stated, I gotta go up in weight class. When he was the quote unquote undisputed world champion at 135, he lost to George Kambosos, his mandatory, and he said, yeah, I gotta go up to 140. He became Ring Magazine and WBO world champion 140, loses to Shakur Stevenson, says, I gotta go up to 147. So apparently he's not gonna take any tune-ups, any warm-ups, any conditioning to the weight, nothing. He's going straight to a big dog. And he's going straight to a world champion. And the only world champions that are available right now are Ryan Garcia and I keep forgetting the other fool's name, but the IBF world champion who's like a UK fighter. Um, Shit, I always forget that fool's name. But anyways, obviously the IBF one is not gonna be a big draw. So if you're gonna lose or you're gonna look bad, might as well make it against a big draw, big name for the big bucks, and that's Ryan Garcia. Since Haney and Rolly are still occupied in whether or not they're making the fucking fight. So it just makes sense that if he wants a big fight against the world title holder, it's got to be against Ryan, since Ryan's the only one available. The other two are occupied, and the other remaining champion is in a big draw, especially in the States. So it just makes sense that if Tio and his team want a world champion straight away at his debut at 147, it's got to be Ryan Garcia. And it's a good fight for Ryan Garcia to stay active, to stay ready, to stay in sharp, build his career more, keep riding the wave of this hype that's gone, that he got from beating the fuck out of Mario Barrios and becoming the new WBC world champion at 147. You know, this is just a good way to keep that momentum going, keep building your career, keep building up your profile higher than what it already is, and keep sort of those people that are hyped about you, keep them hyped. And it's a good way to defend your belt for the first time ever. You know, he's never been a world champion. He's never had to defend a world title. What better way than a guy like Teofimo Lopez? So, but nothing has been officially stated by either Golden Boy, Oscar de la Hoya, by Top Rank, Teofimo himself, Teofimo Sr., nobody. Except for Ryan Garcia on a fucking podcast just randomly said, my next fight, July 25th, is against Teofimo Lopez. And that's all he said. So we'll just have to see whether or not he was jumping the gun. And probably De La Hoya told him, like, hey, I can make this deal happen July 25th. You down? And he probably jumped the gun and said, yeah, Oscar's already got this in the bag. It's already a done deal. I might as well just say it's a done deal. Or maybe he was just too hopeful that saying something like that is going to manifest the fight. But we'll have to see. Now, the last thing we got to talk about for this video, and I'll let you fools go, is the updates at 168. So the 168-pound division is still moving. It's a little bit, hectic right now, but it's still moving. For those who don't know, Cinco de Mayo, this is the first time in like fucking forever where Canelo Alvarez is not going to be in the Cinco de Mayo weekend fight because of surgery he got. But he said, I will be back for the other important date for us Mexicans is September 16th, which is Mexican Independence. So he said he'll be back for that time to fight. But it was said that he was gonna fight Christian and Billy, who has now been upgraded to be the new WBC World Champion at 168 pounds, and it was said to be in Saudi Arabia. Well, the update about this fight is that it's supposedly no longer going to take place in Saudi Arabia, but it will be taking place in Las Vegas, or possibly even Mexico is in the play for a possible location for the fight. So that if it is in Mexico, it kind of gives me the vibes that maybe it will be Canelo's last fight. If he beats him, Billy becomes WBC champion one more time, that he may want to retire as a world champion in front of, you know, the Mexican people. Not just like, oh, I don't know how to say it, but like for those who aren't Mexicans, it's a little difficult to explain, but there is a little difference in the culture between the people who are Mexicans that are born and raised here in the States as opposed to people who are born and raised in Mexico. So there is one thing to fight in places like Las Vegas, which he's always been doing, because people from either Mexico itself could drive to Las Vegas, but more importantly, the people that live in the states, mainly in the in the southwest part of the United States, there's a lot of Mexican people. So everybody could do the drive to Las Vegas to watch him in person. But there's a difference between doing that and then fighting in front of your actual Mexican born and raised people that I guess he is interested more to do. That's why I'm kind of smelling a retirement fight. Hey, I may be jumping the gun here, but I feel like fighting for a world title fight, especially the WBC one, which is more legendary for Mexico because it came out of Mexico, and do it in front of Mexico in Mexican soil. It just seems like the perfect way a Mexican fighter and a big Mexican superstar like Canelo Alvarez would want to choose as his way to retire. So I smell retirement. If it happens in Las Vegas, and maybe it won't be like a retirement fight. Maybe it still could end up being a retirement fight. But if it does happen in Mexico, I'm fucking 99.9% sure that's a retirement fight. So there's that. And then speaking of the WC, also, Lester Martinez has been crowned the new WBC interim world title holder. He will be facing off against Luka Plantic, who's a pretty decently high ranked guy at the 168-pound division. Lester right now, like I said, he's the interim champ, but he's also ranked number 4 for the Ring magazine. This seems to me like a good, solid, stay ready fight. For the Christian and Billy Canelo. So obviously it seems like Lester wants the winner between Christian and Billy and Saul Canelo Alvarez because he wants the world title shot. And he holds the WBC interim, so it makes sense that he wants the chance to fight the actual world champion for the WBC, which will be crowned the winner in September when Billy and Canelo fight. So it makes sense that he wants to fight the winner between that. But as a way to kind of stay active, stay ready, build his profile a little, he's going to fight Luka Plantic. And it makes it a little more obvious when you check out the dates. The dates it's confirmed that they're fighting, but the targeted time is still up in the air. So they're targeting maybe around August, like mid to late August, to have Lester and Plantic fight for the WC interim belt. And then a month later, September 16th or 19th, around that time, Canelo and Billy are fighting. So it's obviously that he wants to stay ready and stay pretty fresh and decently fresh to then have a fight, go to wherever the fight between Billy and Canelo is going to be, and then call out the winner to be like, hey, I'm interim champ for the belt that you have. Let's fight. Let's get it down. And Lester Martinez is a strong, hard fight for anybody at 168. Even for Canelo especially at this age, after the surgeries, after the performance he did with Crawford, yeah, Martinez is a problem for him. Martinez already fought in Billy and it went to a draw in a fight where, in my opinion, since it was only for 10 rounds, if they would have had those 2 extra rounds, which they will have if they're fighting for a world title fight, Martinez would have won. and Billy was looking like he was already dead. Like he was just wanting to hear the final bell and get this shit over with. Martinez looked like he could go those extra 2 rounds. So, and Billy's in trouble if Martinez fights him, just as much as Canelo's in trouble if Martinez fights him. But if Canelo wins, I don't see Martinez probably getting the shot because Canelo will most likely want to fight other world champions to probably retire as undisputed if that's possible. So Martinez is probably gonna have to wait. But if it is in Billy, I don't see a world where Martinez and Billy don't get a showdown, especially because their fight that ended up in a draw was a draw, and then also was candidate for fight of the year in the Ring Awards. So, you know, I don't see a world where it doesn't happen. But that's it. I'm done fucking yapping. I'm done chewing your ear off. Thank you very much for tuning in. I know it's been a while. I'm sorry, but I'm back in the rhythm of stuff, and I'll be posting videos. So stay tuned for videos like that to be coming out in the future, especially this Saturday. There's a lot of stuff going on Saturday. I will be covering it. But thank you very much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. If you haven't yet, or this is the first time you're watching my channel, hit the subscribe button. It's very helpful for me. And check out my other stuff. Check out my other videos. But till next time, have a good one. God bless.